What if the voice of God wasn't booming, but a quiet whisper, coming from a bush? Was Moses just hallucinating in the desert, or did he actually change the world because of a flaming plant? Ever heard of a talking bush? Get ready to dive into one of the most iconic stories in history: Moses and the burning bush. In this video, we'll uncover the mystery of this fiery encounter, explore its significance, and discover how it transformed a shepherd into a leader who changed the world. Prepare to be amazed. The mundane life of a shepherd. Alright, so before we get to the theatrics of a bush that's on fire but ice and tea consumed, we need to understand who Moses wasn't. He wasn't some powerful prince holding court or some revered scholar. He was a shepherd, a simple shepherd. Picture Moses, years after fleeing Egypt, living in Midian, a land far removed from the palaces and pyramids he once knew. He's tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. It's a repetitive, predictable life. Think about it. Being a shepherd in that time wasn't exactly glamorous. It involved long days of walking, making sure the sheep didn't wander off, protecting them from predators, and just generally trying to keep them alive and well in a harsh environment. It was a life of solitude, a life of responsibility, and frankly, probably a pretty boring life. You can imagine Moses, day in and day out, seeing the same scenery, hearing the same bleating, dealing with the same dusty trails. Now, this detail is important because it sets the stage for the extraordinary. We're talking about a man who's likely settled into a routine, perhaps even resigned to a life far removed from the power and influence he once knew. He's not actively seeking adventure. He's not plotting a grand return to Egypt. He's simply doing his job, day in and day out. Imagine your own life for a moment. We all have routines, right? The morning commute, the same coffee order, the predictable tasks at work, the familiar faces. We get comfortable. We get complacent. Maybe we even start to feel like our lives are a little ordinary. And that's precisely where God often shows up. Not when we're expecting it, not when we're seeking some kind of epic adventure, but in the midst of the mundane. He finds Moses not in a temple or a palace, but on the backside of a desert, tending sheep. This is a powerful reminder that God can use anyone, anywhere, no matter how ordinary their circumstances may seem. Moses wasn't chosen because he was extraordinary. He was chosen and then transformed through the encounter with the divine. So, let's keep that in mind as we move forward. God uses ordinary people, and often it's in the most ordinary of settings. The burning bush, a voice from the divine. Okay, so Moses is standing there, dumbfounded. A bush is blazing with fire, but it's not being consumed. Imagine the heat radiating off it, the crackling of the flames, the dancing shadows. But the leaves remain green. The branches remain intact. This wasn't some trick of the desert sun. This was something supernatural. Curiosity, as they say, killed the cat. But in Moses' case, it led him to the greatest encounter of his life. He thought to himself, I must turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. He starts walking towards it, wanting a closer look, trying to understand what in the world is going on. A voice booms out from the heart of the fire, clear and resonant, cutting through the stillness of the desert. Moses, Moses. It's a voice filled with authority, a voice that commands attention. Moses, startled but obedient, responds, Here I am. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Suddenly, a random patch of desert, just like any other, becomes sacred, consecrated by the presence of the divine. Moses immediately obeys, his heart pounding in his chest. The command to remove his sandals is a sign of reverence, a symbol of leaving behind the earthly and entering into a realm of spiritual significance. Then the voice identifies itself. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. This wasn't just any God. This was the God of his ancestors, the God of the covenant, the God who had promised to bless their descendants. This was a direct connection to his heritage, to the very foundation of his identity. Moses, overwhelmed, hid his face, afraid to look upon God. And then the reason for this extraordinary encounter is revealed. God says, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. God is not detached, aloof, or indifferent to the plight of his people. He is deeply invested in their well-being. He sees their suffering, he hears their cries, and he is moved to action. This is a pivotal moment, not just for Moses, but for the entire nation of Israel. God is about to intervene to deliver them from bondage, and the person he chooses to be his instrument, Moses, the runaway prince, the shepherd in the wilderness, the man who felt inadequate and insignificant. This sets the stage for the epic journey to come. What can we learn from the burning bush? Moses' encounter with the burning bush isn't just a cool story with supernatural elements. It's packed with lessons applicable to our lives today. The first is asterisk, listening to the voice within. Asterisk, Moses wasn't looking for a burning bush. He was just going about his day, tending sheep. But when something caught his attention, something unusual, something compelling, he stopped to investigate. How often do we ignore that inner nudge, that gut feeling that something is worth exploring because we're too busy or too comfortable? The burning bush represents that internal call to something more. Pay attention to those moments. Don't dismiss them as coincidence. Ask yourself, what am I being called to hear? Secondly, asterisk, embrace your imperfections. Moses was hesitant. He questioned God's choice, citing his inability to speak well. He felt inadequate. Sound familiar? We all have insecurities, doubts, and perceived weaknesses. But God didn't choose Moses despite his flaws, but rather worked through them. He promised to be with Moses, to guide him, and even provided Aaron to help him speak. This reminds us that God uses imperfect people to accomplish amazing things. Don't let your self-doubt paralyze you. Identify your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses, and trust that you can leverage your talents to achieve great things. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being willing. Finally, be open to transformation. Moses' encounter with the burning bush completely changed his life trajectory. He went from a simple shepherd to a leader who would liberate an entire nation. This required him to step outside his comfort zone, confront his fears, and embrace a destiny far greater than he could have imagined. We too are often called to leave behind what's familiar and comfortable to pursue something bigger than ourselves. This might involve changing careers, pursuing a new passion, or challenging the status quo. It's not always easy, but growth often requires discomfort. Be open to the possibilities that lie beyond your current limitations. And trust that even when you can't see the full picture, a greater purpose might be unfolding. Embrace the burning bush moments in your life, for they could be the catalyst for your own extraordinary journey. So, we've journeyed with Moses from his humble beginnings to his pivotal encounter with the burning bush. We saw how God used what seemed impossible, a flame that did unconsume, to reveal his power and his plan. Remember, this story isn't just ancient history. It's about divine calling, overcoming fear, and trusting in a power greater than ourselves. If you found this journey enlightening and inspiring, smash that like button so others can discover this story too. What resonated most with you about Moses' encounter? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the conversation. And finally, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future explorations of faith, history, and the power of ancient stories. We're just getting started. And that's the story of Moses and the burning bush, a powerful reminder that even in the humblest places, the greatest callings can be found. Now, go find yours.